Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm TKA Brew. A lot of people have been having problems with the Gunsmith, so I'm going to give you all the basics so you understand how it works and how you can build your own weapons. And then stick around to the very end where I'm going to build my very own Rust loadout so you guys can see how it is done. So stick around. Now, the main purpose of Gunsmith coming out was to give you more control over all the attachments that are on your gun. It wasn't designed so you could copy someone else's loadout because it was good for them. Gunsmith is designed for you to personally figure out what is best for you. Your playstyle is going to be completely different than other people's, so you're going to want to be able to design a gun that works exactly for you. Let's jump into my Rust Gunsmith so we can see what's going on here. You need to max out your gun in order to have access to all of the attachments, but you do have access to attachments along the way, just like you did on your normal leveling up system. So the higher you are, the more attachments you'll have access to. So you're going to want to grind out your favorite guns to get them maxed out. Now, the main thing we're going to be focusing on is actually under where it says Rust 79U is those 6 spots. Those 6 spots are probably the most important things you need to concentrate on this game. Damage, fire rate, accuracy, mobility, range, and controls is everything you can change with attachments. Damage and fire rate, on the other hand, are very rare to find attachments that will actually change that. The DRH can do more damage if you put on the right attachment. Sniper rifles can also do more damage and change their fire rate, but it's very rare to see damage and fire rate change. So you're going to be wanting to focus on accuracy, mobility, range, and control, because those are the 4 that you'll have the most control on. Now, starting at the top, damage is just really how much damage your bullets do to other people. Damage does change depending on how far away someone is and how close you are to them, because there is some damage drop off. Fire rate is just how fast the bullets leave the gun, basically. So the higher the fire rate, the faster the bullets come out and the more potential damage you have to do if you land all the shots. Now, accuracy has more to do with the spread of the bullets than it does anything else. So if you see anything that deals with bullet spread, that's going to be focusing on your accuracy, because even if you took a single shot slowly, it's still possible to have a little bit of bullet drift on the gun. So the more accuracy you have, the less you're going to have bullet spread. Mobility deals with how fast you move and how fast you are while you're aiming down your sights. The ADS speed of how fast you aim down your sights is also in on this as well. So if you add a optic to it, or if you change your grips or something, your aiming down sight speeds can also change. Range is very simple. It's just how far the bullets will go. The farther the bullets go, the more damage you can do at range, and then it changes the spectrum of the damage spread. That changes the drop off of the damage later on, but the range isn't going to change too much, so you don't want to focus on that too much. Lastly is control, and this actually has to do with all the recoil, vertical and lateral recoil. So if you have a hard time controlling your guns while you're firing them, you're going to want to focus a lot on control, because that's where all your recoil spread is going to happen. Now that you actually know what those words mean and what they relate to into real-world gameplay, we can now start messing with those numbers by adding attachments. You can add a maximum of 5 attachments onto a weapon. Perks do count as an attachment. So previously, when you got like blue weapons that had cool perks on them, those are now considered an attachment. So if you want to run faster off the start, that is actually an attachment now. And as promised, we have a maxed out Rust, and we're going to go through step by step, looking through things you want to change for your personal style of gameplay. My personal style of gameplay is a little bit slower. I'm not as much run and gun, so running into a room, sliding, and having to do a lot of movement isn't really my forte. So I'm more of a stationary, moving while aiming kind of guy. So what we're going to want to work on is definitely accuracy and control. If we lose a little bit on mobility, that is okay for me. So normally I first start with my number one thing is I'm not a big fan of iron sights personally. If you love your iron sights, then that actually saves you an extra spot. I do like the second red dot sight. It looks really nice. And if you go into your customizations, these have nothing to do with how your gun performs. You can actually just start changing them to other things, like to change the reticle. You can add little charms on them if you want, but that has really nothing to do as the function of the gun. Up next is I do have a problem of running out of ammo, but as you can see right now, if I increase the magazine size, my movement speed and reload speed are actually going to take a hit. So as you can see on the right hand side, it now drops from 71. It used to be at 73, and then if I add a extended mag onto it, it's going to drop down to 71. Those little lines that you see right there are the base stats of the gun, and then when you start attaching them, it either goes above the line, which turns green, or drops below the line, which means you're making that gun a little bit worse in that category. So what I would really want is 38 rounds fast reload would probably be the best way to go for me. If you see, aiming down sight speed, reload speed, and movement speed are all affected if you go too big of a magazine, because that just looks chunky. But I'm actually okay with doing 38 rounds faster reload. I do have a problem with spray and pray sometimes if I get caught into a close quarter combat. So we now have a good sight that I like, more ammunition with fast reload, but as you can see, I took a hit to mobility, so we probably want to figure out a good way to gain some accuracy and control right now. So as we jump in here, as you can see, vertical recoil and ADS bullet spread are going to be pluses, and I'm going to be losing some mobility on my gun right now. So we want to find what works best for me. Vertical recontrol, hip fire accuracy. I don't hip fire that often. I try not to. Vertical recoil controlled, but we lose ADS. Vertical recoil, ADS spread, ADS movement speed, and that takes a huge hit. I don't think I want to take that much of a hit. But I do want to worry about that. There we go. And then as you can see on the other side, I have 2 greens. My accuracy and my control have now gone up, which is good. We might want to add a slight bit more of range, because I am a mid-range fighter. I do get close. I love long range with sniper rifles. Mid to close range, it's probably where I dominate mostly. Close range, not at all. So we want to figure out something that I don't want to lose. Let's be honest, I don't want to lose too much range here, or mobility. If I start losing too much mobility, then I'm going to be bagging out. I'm going to be moving way too slow with an SMG. ADS spread, damage range, lateral recoil stability, which is good, and then we lose movement speed and ADS speed. But we have now dropped movement speed way too much. Now the question is, can we regain some movement speed? ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. I do run around and run a gun sometimes, so we're going to add that onto it. So overall, we've added points to accuracy, range, and control, which is really good for me. I'm not a really fast movement player, so mobility for me is less of a priority. We can click save and make this a default loadout, so you could save it under your blueprints for later on if you want. But this is really good for me for now. And then what we want to do is, once you've built the gun, go try it out in regular matchmaking, and then come back and tweak some of these. I might come in here and realize, you know what, I moved too slow. Maybe I'll take away the barrel and add a stock to it, and hopefully work out get some of my mobility back, right? But that's pretty much the basics of the game. You want to take the Gunsmith, you want to tweak it so it works for you, don't have to worry about anybody else, and then you want to add up to 5 attachments, and then play with them until you find a gun that works great for you. Some of you might not like optics, which then gives you a chance to add another attachment. Maybe you want a perk. Maybe you want ridiculously fast reloading, fast and sleight of hands. Or maybe you are more of a hip fire person, and you want to pop off one of these from hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed, and you want to add some that way. But for me, let's be honest, I love my red dot sights, so I always make sure I put my red dot sights on. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about how the Gunsmith works, this was just a very basic overview of how it works. You can always leave those down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it helped you out a lot, make sure you drop a like and a subscribe. I'll do future videos on probably all the guns with loadouts that work for me, for my playstyle. They might work well for you, but I'll definitely do some loadouts for other guns. As you saw, the Russ was fairly simple to use the Gunsmith once you realize exactly what you're trying to figure out and tweak to make it right for you. If you have any ideas for future videos, you can always leave those in the comments down below. Hope you guys are doing great. Don't forget to check me out on Trovo streaming COD Mobile and Brawl Stars. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.